Is there a part of your home that feels out of place, but no one has ever bothered to change it? There's one spot in our home I always found to be strange, but up until recently started kind of, freaking me out. I'm not sure how many people have frosted glass in their homes. I mean, apart from maybe your bathroom if you have a glass in the shower. We have one piece of frosted glass inset in a door that separates our living room from our front hallway that leads out of our apartment. From this door, you can really only see the living room, the hallway, and our bedroom when the door is open. We leave the door open a majority of the time since we have no real reason to close it. Though recently, my wife has been bringing work home, so she'll close the door for a little more privacy. I can see her silhouette through the glass sometimes when she paces the hallway or walks in and out of the bedroom. Here is where I first noticed something weird. When my wife had closed the door, I had passed by and could see clear into the bedroom. I could hear her talking with somebody on the phone and see her standing in the bedroom. But that wasn't right. I could clearly hear her voice moving from one spot in the apartment to another, and yet I could see her vague outline through the glass in our bedroom, standing near the furthest wall. Even stranger, it was like she was looking at me through the door. Despite how far from the window she was, it was like I could see her head trained on me. I was going to open the door until I was interrupted by a pot boiling over in the kitchen behind me. The kitchen was attached to the living room in the opposite direction. I had finished cooking our food and my wife joined me not long after her phone call. I wanted to bring up what I had just seen, but maybe I was imagining what had happened. You know how sometimes a pile of clothing can resemble a person in the corner of a room. I wish I had said something sooner. The next day I was alone in the apartment since my wife had to head into the office. I was still a little creeped out, so I made sure to shut all the doors, the bedroom and the frosted glass door especially. This left the hallway dark without the light on, so I couldn't actually see anything through the small window. Because who wants to actually know if something is going on in the darkness, right? At the time, I was also working from home, but the workload was pretty light, so I spent a lot of time milling about and watching TV. You know how sometimes you can feel the air pressure in a room change when a door opens or closes? I felt something. Instinctually, I stood and looked around, trying to find the source of my unease. I hated that I had to look through that stupid window, but lo and behold, I could see a light peeking through the other side of it. The bedroom door appeared to be open, just a crack, a small sliver of light shining through. I remember trying to reason out whether I left the door open enough for the latch not to catch, but it didn't really make a difference. I stood for a long time just watching the small window. My phone vibrated on the couch. I hesitated before finally reaching down to grab it. A text from my wife. I looked back up and saw that the sliver of light in the bedroom was gone. The hallway was dark again. Could I have imagined the door being open? My phone buzzed in my hand again. I looked down, then back up. The light was back again. It took everything in my power not to freak out. I stood for a long time just watching the door. I had finally built up enough courage to finally just go and open it. There was nothing there, but the bedroom door was definitely open, even if only slightly. When my wife got home, all the doors in the apartment were open and the lights turned on. I had made an excuse like I was cleaning. I suppose I should have told her. I went to cooking dinner again. My wife went to shower after work. I made sure to leave the door open this time. I had the kitchen fan going and a few pans cooking food, so the extra noise was pretty loud. And yet, I still heard it. The sound was so soft, yet so pervasive I couldn't not hear it. The light click of a door latch. I stood there for a moment, just staring down at the pans, just listening. I couldn't hear anything except the sizzling of the food and the spinning fan. I didn't turn around, instead, I raised my voice and called out, "Honey?" Seeing if my wife was done with her shower early. No answer. I decided to turn the burners off and step away. I tiptoed out of the kitchen and peered around the corner into the living room. Sure enough, the door to the hallway was closed. The hallway beyond was dark. The bathroom was in the same hallway, so I should have been able to see the light from the bathroom if the door was open. Nothing. I approached the door slowly. The small glass window felt like it was a black hole absorbing all the light in the room. I hesitated, but asked again, "Honey?" It was only a split second after the word left my mouth that I saw the blurred face of my wife appear on the other side of the frosted glass. I jumped. The relief I wish I would have felt was non existent as I saw my wife's face nearly pressed toward the glass. She didn't say anything. The vague shape of her blurred face looked like it was smiling at me. I was unnerved at the sight and spoke again. "What are you doing?" I almost couldn't keep my voice steady. She didn't move, but I could see she was watching me. Her dark, blurred pupils followed my movements. I approached the door, reaching for the handle, all the while her blurred head moving with me as I got closer. The handle was cold. I swallowed hard as I turned it. Then, as if to surprise her, I jerked the door open. I jumped. Then my wife jumped as she was drying her hair just on the other side of the door. I couldn't help but yell, "Jesus," as she yelped. I apologized, saying I wasn't sure if she was done in the bathroom yet. Still, I didn't mention anything to her. I was afraid to scare her too. The rest of the evening passed without anything else happening, but that didn't stop me from glancing at the hallway. I was fixated, paranoid. When we finally decided to go to bed, I made sure to close the bedroom door firmly. I didn't want a repeat of what happened earlier in the day. It wasn't until later that night I woke up. I could feel my wife's icy feet brush up against my leg. It wasn't abnormal that her feet or hands were like ice cubes, so I cuddled closer to her. As I got closer, though, I noticed it wasn't just her hands and feet that were cold. Her whole body was freezing. My eyes opened slowly, taking in the faint moonlight coming from the bedroom window. The door was open. My eyes opened wider. I immediately felt sick to my stomach. Even worse, I could see the faint light of the bathroom down the hall. My neck stiffened. My head turned slowly toward my wife, or the space she would occupy on the bed. I couldn't make out any details. It was like a blurred mess of flesh and colors on the pillow in front of me. But what I could tell was that it was smiling at me. I shoved myself off of the bed, plummeting to the bedroom floor with a loud thud. I could hear the bathroom door swing open from the hallway. My wife ran into the room. I told her about what was happening the last few days. We're going to see an emergency doctor tomorrow. My head hurts. Everything looks blurry. But when I look at the frosted glass window, everything seems clear. I can even see my wife, smiling at me on the other side.